All right, welcome everybody. And today we got a special guest speaker, Carrie. She is President Olive Star and just simply one of the best humans that I possibly know. So I know is, she will say this herself probably, but not huge on social media. She shows up there just to probably be on social media, but she's done a fantastic job and always has with in person and cultivating the relationships while growing her olive tree business. So, we've had a lot of questions about full size product drop off, like the basket drop offs, and then glow workshops. And so I thought, okay, who could we bring in so you guys get a different perspective than what Gretchen and I keep trying to share with you all. So I asked Carrie, I reached out to Carrie and asked her if she'd be willing to do a private training for us. And here we are.
Love it. Thank you, Jen. Okay, yes, my name is Carrie Smith. I live in Dallas. I have two teenage boys that keep me busy. But yes, I'm not great on social media. I push myself sometimes to try to be better. And I feel like my problem is usually I'm not dressed and not made up. And so I don't get my face on the screen, which I know everyone would say, just show up as you are. No, like this is bad enough that no, I would do a disservice to everything if I showed up as is, promise. But I have been in this industry for about 10 years and really built the majority of my previous business and continue to use full-size product drop-offs as a primary way of sharing products with people. So I'm really excited to talk about that with y'all. So, really there are two main things that you can do with in-person activity. The glow workshops is one way, and I'm not going to talk as much about that today, but the second are the full-size product drop-offs. And I really feel like there is nothing like seeing, touching, feeling, smelling the products in person to really, really sell them. And that is something that social media can never have over the in-person experience. So, I want to kind of talk first about how there is a psychological aspect of trying the full-size products, and there really kind of is a method behind the madness. And I'm going to explain kind of some of the thoughts behind that. But I would, if you haven't done this, I would try it, and I would try it kind of exactly how I explain it and see if it works and see if you have some of the same pitfalls by not following exactly if that happens. So there is something about, and I don't have products in front of me, but there is something about seeing a full-size product sitting on your bathroom countertop that is different than getting samples. So this is something that I would try. Depends, of course, on what you have at home. And if you only have the products that you use every day, consider even making yourself little samples to get you through the next couple of days while you let your products go work for you. A lot of people like to call them their employees, getting their employees out there to work. But one thing that's really important about letting somebody try full-size products is giving a time limit. And this is super, super, super important. Typically, people will take advantage. It's just human nature to say, oh, I didn't get a chance to try it yet. Or, can I have it for another couple days, or, things like that. It's important to really set it ahead of time, let people know that they get to try the products for 2 nights and you're going to pick them up on the 3rd day. And if somebody else doesn't get a chance to try them, you really need to say like, oh, I'm so sorry, I have somebody in line right after you. But I can put you back on the list and let you try them after that. And I promise you, even though that feels hard to say and do it, because 9 times out of 10, I will say people that do that to you will never even order anyway. So just go ahead and get your products back. And if it's like the, dating, you got to play a little bit hard to get, and you have to make them realize the importance and the value of these products. Okay. So how in the world do you get your first people to try products? There are kind of two things that come to mind initially on how to make the big ask. Number one, if you're new, this is extra easy, but you can still do this at any point in time. I would say, hey, Susie, you might have seen that I'm working for this new cool skincare company. I would love to get your opinion on the products. Would you be open to trying them out for a couple of nights? I mean, it's all it has to be. You're giving them a compliment, telling them like you value their opinion, and asking them if they will give you feedback and let them know how you like them. We all know, yes, there's probably somebody out there that will hand them back to you and say, didn't love them. They're not as good as my XYZ. It's okay. But most of the time, you're going to get great feedback. So another thing you could say is like, I'm going out of town this weekend. You could say, hey, I'm heading out of town this weekend and my Oliveda products are just going to be sitting here. Would you want to have a spa weekend and check them out? And who's going to say no to that? So I'm looking at my notes because I started making notes for today and then I realized I already had notes. So I have two sets of notes to make sure I don't forget anything.
So I got a question. You
Yeah.
ask through text message, DMs, voice memos. What is the one avenue that you found most successful?
I think any of the above works fine. I think it depends on who you're really targeting as somebody that you want to get as a client, somebody that you want to try the products. Maybe it's somebody you think is going to make a great consultant. And then I think you reach out to them however is most natural to reach
Okay.
out to that person. I have even seen where people post on social media, like I'm going out of town, who wants to try my products? I would say that that works as a last resort, but I think that personal, getting it in the hands of the person you really want to try it is
Mhm.
important because we all kind of know, who is the mover and shaker that's local, who knows a lot of people, who enjoys skincare. You kind of, if you're doing all this in person, you kind of can identify those people and know who you want as a client. Okay, so I mentioned the psychological aspect of the full-size products. I know that some of you are going, ew, but some of these products don't have a pump and people are going to need to dip in them. Okay, I'm kind of going to skip around a little bit here because this goes into what I'm going to talk about later, but I include the little spatulas that you can get on Amazon, and I make a little note, and you could even laminate it and have it, with all the things that says, please use spatulas and please don't double dip. I have never had a problem with it. I've never gotten anything back that looks icky. I've never had a problem with it. But I know depending on, some people are just really super germ phobe. You can make little samples of some of the products if you feel that way about things, and include full size of the things you can include that have pumps. Okay. And then after you ask them and you get somebody that says, sure, I'll try it. Here's the questions that I would ask them next. I would say, what are you currently using? I always like to say, do you have any sensitivities? And what are your skin concerns? So I'm hoping to learn, pretty quickly. You can also ask them to take a skincare quiz, but sometimes that's just one more step for somebody that might just, it's more trouble. So I don't know if I would go that route all the time, but if you have somebody who you feel like you could ask that to, then you could also have them take the quiz. And then what I'm listening to is when they say what they're using, you'll get a quick idea of okay, they're using um Cetaphil, they're using something like that. You're like, okay, they're used to not, a product that doesn't have a lot of active ingredients.
Mhm.
They might be more sensitive even though they don't realize it. Or you have somebody that says, I'm not sensitive at all, and they tell you some name of something they're using, and you're like, oh yeah, they're ready to just dive in. So you're going to learn a lot by understanding what they're using. And then I always like to know if they have skin concerns, because maybe they aren't loving their skincare that they're using currently. Okay, so then let's see. I'm going to use that information, and I'm also going to weigh it against what I have on hand, my products, because you might not have the perfect thing for them. And you could just explain, like, I really think you're going to love that Arbequina cleansing oil, but I don't have that one. I have, this product, and it's similar. So, you can always explain, you think that you know the perfect product for them, and this will be similar.
Can I ask you another question there?
Always.
Since we always, since I was gonna say always, since you said always, since we have so many different products, obviously more basic is better, but say somebody's used to using retinol, would you put one of our retinols in a trial like basket, or would you shy away from that since, might be better for them just to start with maybe like an F06 or an F59 per se?
Well, so for example, I'm breaking all of my rules currently. I have somebody who's trying products, but she told me I am super, super, super sensitive. And so I'm breaking my rules because she's had my products for over a week right now, which I do not, normally I would never allow, but she is trying LA dope and she's easing into it. So I
Right,
think every situation's slightly different,
right,
but yeah, I mean, if somebody's using, something that seems very med spa-ish, a lot of active ingredients, I typically don't worry about letting them try the products. But I do try to keep it fairly simple. I don't normally give everything. Like, I don't include a toner usually. I really try to keep it, 3, maybe 4 products.
Mhm.
And then I usually get it together, and then I go, okay, this person is trying my stuff right now. She's super, super sensitive. So I'm like, maybe I'll give her a body oil to try as well. So it just is going to depend on the person if they're going to feel overwhelmed by more products. And usually
Right,
you can kind of sense that from their responses to you and knowing their personalities. But I'm always trying to maybe throw something extra in, like maybe a mask, something that I think that will be, maybe they don't love the skincare their first go around. It's not quite the right products. Maybe they'll say, yeah, but I'll get the mask
right.
or I get the body oil. So does that help answer that
Yeah,
question?
that helps.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So once I decide the products, then what I'm going to include in it. So sometimes I will use a little basket like this. I got this at IKEA, but I saw somebody had a really cute one. They got a TJ Maxx that was kind of felt type. And I think you could set products in there and they wouldn't slide around. So
Mm,
something like this, or something like a pouch that's larger than this, one that's taller, just something that looks very clean and nice that you can take to them. So what I'm going to include in that, I'm going to include the products. I probably will include a catalog if I have one on hand, and I might have something like stapled to it that says, Carrie's copy, something like that, because we know those catalogs can be expensive, and I don't want somebody, just every person taking it for their use. I'm going to include, along with the spatulas, I'm going to include something that says, please use the spatulas, please don't double dip. I'm going to get instructions to them somehow on how to use products. It could be something that I type up. Maybe I'm copying and pasting some things from the website on like how to use the products. Or another way to get the instructions to them is you could send a voice note. I've recorded myself on video before, walking them through each of the products, and then I send them that video when I drop off the products. Any way that is easiest for you. The best thing is just don't make it too difficult for yourself that it makes you not want to do it. Just do it, but just figure out which is the easiest way to explain the instructions. Then I also included an order form, and I asked one of my friends, I don't think the order form in the back office is completely updated. And for sure, I don't think it's super easy, but I have a friend who she has kind of made her own order form, and I will send this to Jen so that she can share with you all. this order form. But what I do, I have this in the basket. I will write at the top of it, I will write, fill me out and receive a free gift when I pick up. And that is the carrot that they need to place the order and have this filled out when I pick it up.
Can I interrupt really quick? How do you do that order? Because it's so complicated to place orders for people in the back office.
Yeah.
Your credit card info.
So when I'm at home, I use Chrome for all of my web browsing, but I use Safari for anything that I'm needing to go incognito. And I just always, once I go into Safari, I open a new incognito page and I'm just pretending to be that client.
Okay. So are you basically ordering it with your credit card, but
No, they're filling that out right here. You do
Awesome.
not want to use your own credit card.
Oh,
I want to
that's
make
what I'm
sure that's
saying.
on the
It's like a mess when people do that.
Yes, do not. I would highly, highly recommend, do not use your own credit card for any of these because that will mess up on the back system and Shopify will recognize your credit card and put your name on your customer's order. So you definitely want to avoid that. If somebody doesn't want to write down their credit card right here, then I would say, hey, can I call you and get it? I promise I'm going to shred this as soon as I enter your order. Most people, I would say 9 out of 10, do not have any problem filling this out. Okay. And then I do like to write a handwritten note of some sort. Thank you so much for trying the products. I'm so excited. You're going to love them. Can't wait to hear what your favorites are. Once again, there is so much psychology in this business. You are setting a positive tone. You are letting them know they're going to love them, and you can't wait to know what their favorites are because they're going to have favorites. And then you make sure at some point in time, you're setting that expectation that you're going to leave the products with them for 2 nights and pick up on the 3rd day. And like I said, it's so important to really stick to that. So, if it might be that you work out a situation where it's an extra day, but just kind of have that expectation in mind. Then you're going to want to check in. So, okay, so when you're dropping them off, sometimes you might just drop them off on somebody's porch. I like to do that. I'm a super introvert. I don't like to have extra people time in that way. So I like to just drop them off on the porch, but ideally if you could see them and show them the products, you could even walk them through how to use them right there in person. So do whatever's easiest for you. This, it with my schedule and just busyness, and I know you all are the same, it is so easy. If you live in an area where there's, not a lot of theft or anything, drop it off on a front porch. Doesn't work so well in New York City, but in a neighborhood, usually you can do that with no problem.
I think a lot of other people like that too.
Yeah, I agree. And I like to always, as soon as I drop it off, when I get back in my car, I send them a text and I say, hey, just drop the products off on your front porch. A lot of times they're home, they're the same. Like you said, they're like, okay, great. It's also, if you have children, this is a great thing to have them do too.
Love that.
Okay. So then, like, let's say I dropped it off this afternoon right now. I know that they're going to try the products tonight. So then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to send them a text tonight and say, can't wait for you to try the products tonight. Feel free to text me if you have any questions while you're doing your routine. So just keeping that line of communication open so that if they do run into any snags, they're going to feel confident in reaching out to me that they're not bothering me. Then I would try to follow up with them, a couple of times over the course of the time they have the products, and just, so I can help them with anything. And then I will send them a message, saying, I'm going to pick up the products tomorrow. Again, can't wait to hear what your favorites are. And what I do, when somebody asks us questions about the gift, here's what I do. So you can get little these little mask applicators on Amazon, something like this. You can get little pouches like this on Amazon. You could even bundle something like this together. And I have this in my hand when I walk up to the front porch to pick it up. I take a peek real quick, see if that order form's filled out. And if it is, I leave it. And if it's not, I take it back with me to the car. And then
So what happens if you go up and they're there and they're handing you the box and you have the gift?
Yeah. So I think that I would say, oh my gosh, show me what your favorites are. What did you think? Wasn't that mask amazing? Didn't you love that? Did you let your daughter try it too? You know, I'm just going to ask those kinds of questions.
Kind of probe and then see if they're willing. Hey, I got this if you're going to order.
Yeah, I'm gonna peek at the order form, and maybe if it's not filled out, I might even say, what were your favorites? I want to mark them down so that I have a wish list going for you. So you could even kind of start the conversation like that, where you know you're then if there's ever a deal where that product's a freebie or you know any kind of sale, you'll be able to have a reason to follow up and say, I know you loved that honey enzyme mask. Today's the perfect day to grab it. Okay. And then if they don't order, I'm always going to put them on my email list for newsletter, text them when there's sales, ask if they want to try any additional products down the road, or if, you know, something new comes out. And then if they did order, you know, it's a traditional follow-up. You're going to make sure they receive their order and they love it. And just going to continue to follow up. If it's somebody that you have have great conversations with and you get a lot of feedback, you know, perhaps you can ask them who else they know that would love to have another spa weekend like they got to have. And that's a great way to get some referrals.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that's it. It's just rinse it and repeat. And you know, when I've done it where I've had several out at once, I will say beyond having two going at one time is a little bit hard, but you can really develop a strong, loyal client base by doing these. Does anyone have any questions?
Sure there is.
Yeah.
I did. Sorry. I was messaging Jen about something else. You know, things pop up. I think more of a comment, which is I really like the time, like the time urgency that you're putting on it. That's something that I think a lot of us has learned as practitioners. Little white lies sometimes, otherwise appointments run over. It's you know what, we have to be really mindful of our time because I have another appointment right after you. I highly encourage people to be fine with that, because think of yourself in the doctor's office or at some appointment. You would watch the clock more and be more efficient with your time and not as chatty, you know what I mean? In general, if you knew, okay, I only have this much time. So if you only have this much time with products, you're probably going to try them if they actually interested you. And then also your comment of, if they don't try them, don't feel bad taking them back because they just weren't your people. It just, for this situation, they weren't interested, and maybe they were just like, sure, try it, but they didn't want to, you know, like,
and I've had people who've asked me for more time, and even after I gave them more time, they still didn't try it. And so, you know, it's like dealing with kids, you know, like,
yeah, you harden to it.
That's why I have a hard time giving out small samples to people unless it's for a virtual glow workshop that we're all coming together, because like any sample that you get from any store, it just sits, right? Or gets lost in your purse.
Goes into your bathroom drawer. Yeah.
At least they're bigger products and a little bit more full size with that, but
definitely.
It looks like Becky, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I'm completely new to this. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Like totally new. So, and I signed on like a little bit late to the meeting. So, Are you saying that the strategy is that you're giving people samples to try with the order form, and then within a certain amount of time, you're picking it back up? I,
Yes. So you're
okay.
giving them full-size products to try because there is a psychology behind all of this where they're getting to envision those products sitting in their bathroom. They're, seeing what they'll look like. They'll see how heavy the glass is and seeing how much product they're getting in it and all the things. They're seeing exactly what they're going to get. And they have a small amount of time to try it. And then a little tiny carrot to get them to place the order, which we all know, even if you have a glow workshop, somebody says, I'll go home and place the order. No, it never happens. So you're going to take care of that for them. They fill out the form and you put the order in for them, and it works pretty well.
So where are you getting the full size? Are
Mhm.
you just buying that and sharing it with people?
Yes. So I do have almost all of the products just because I wanted to have them,
Yeah.
if I have a glow workshop for my team, I want to have everything. So I do know that most people do not have that many products. So what I would do is I would make samples for myself and let somebody else try the full size products for a couple of days, if that's all you have. Or you might, if this starts working for you, you might invest in an extra set of products that becomes your samplers that you constantly keep out on rotation. And of
Okay.
course, when I'm bringing these back into my home, I am wiping them down. I'm,
Right. That's what I was kind of wondering about, like hygienic wise. Like, yeah, okay.
yeah.
I-
And I'm
yeah.
providing the spatulas, giving them instructions to use the spatulas, plenty of them and provided so that, I say don't double dip, all of that. But if that is, whether it's you or whether the person you're sharing with, if that's extra, scary for them, then just, you can make little samples, but whatever you can provide to them in the full size will get the extra impact. So like maybe you give them a little sample of an eye cream, but you're giving them the full size cleanser.
Right. I gotcha.
So I think Carrie, it might have been a training that you did this time last year, or maybe it was just us talking, or maybe it wasn't even you and it was somebody else at this point. I don't trust my brain sometimes, but I think you had mentioned with your previous company, you had a training with one of the manufacturers, and they were kind of talking about, because of what's in the product, that actually your hand going in it, somebody else's hands going in it, really the level of cleansiness stays versus it really getting that dirty. Was that you?
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah,
making
I think
this
it
up?
was. So
Okay.
there was somebody that worked in product development that I think somebody had said, well, what about, I don't even think we were talking in terms of full size trials like we're talking about right now, but we were talking about something else. And he said, he laughed. He said, no. He's like, there's enough, we make sure that there's enough in there that it's not, you're protected from any, anything growing or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident in that, the fact that that won't happen with this either. But I also understand, you know,
Yeah, absolutely. You don't know what other people are doing and you want to keep it
yeah,
clean on your end as well. But I do kind of feel like with the hydroxytyrosol being the base too, it's the microbial of it. And so I do feel pretty confident if it's people just putting spatulas, even if they're to double dip, I don't think you're going to lose too much of the integrity of the product.
I agree.
Yeah. Great questions, Becky. Did you have any more?
So for now.
Okay. All right. It looks like there was a question, which are the main products that people will try? Have you found a trend?
Well, I really feel like in order to get Oliveda, I don't think you can have somebody try one product. I really feel strongly that 3 products are necessary. So I would 100% want somebody to try a cleanser, some sort of serum or elixir, and a moisturizer. I think that those are the three basics that everyone should try to like just get what we're doing and how these products work. So that's the minimum that I would try to give to somebody. And I don't think, what the products are, the main products, I think that's just going to vary, but it might be the ones that you're using, because if you're having success with them, and when you ask somebody those questions, to try to decide what to give them, those might fit, and you might be able to say, here, this is exactly what I love. You might do better with an oil cleanser, but this is our gel cleanser. Let you at least try it so you can feel what the products are like. And just know that our oil cleanser is amazing.
Right.
I love the idea of including a mask too.
I do too.
It's just that little extra step someone might take knowing they're trying a new product line. And then when you were talking about like explaining how to use things, my brain always, I try to and love just efficiency and doing the work up front so that you don't ever have to do it again later. So my brain goes to, oh my gosh, I could shoot a quick video that literally just talks about the order of how to use things, talking about cleanser, serum, face cream, and eye cream. And it could be general. It doesn't have to be, these are the exact products you have. You can keep it very short. You can have another laminated thing that you put in the folder when you drop things off that has the steps written out, but also a QR code that directs them to the YouTube video you've uploaded that's maybe 2 minutes long and explains how to use it. So it's super simple and easy and just done. You don't ever have to redo it.
And that is perfect. I love that. And so when I had this going with my last company, I was really organized, and I had, instead of having a catalog, because we didn't have one, I had a couple pages of information about the company and about our products. And I would have something like what Gretchen mentioned. And then on the top, I would have, please use spatulas, please don't double dip. I would have each of those pages laminated with a little ring, and that would be in there with my products.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
And you could order form. You could also have another QR code for here's where you would go to order off the website. If they want to go order before you even pick it up, it's could be just little efficient thing.
Definitely.
I do like the paper order form, because I find people go into the website and they're like, okay. Yeah, it's too overwhelming. So I've had somebody like 3 times in a row and she still hasn't ordered. And I'm like, look, let's get on the phone. I will order for you,
Yeah.
And my brain also goes to, here's the QR code for the cart
Oh,
the
yeah.
cart
Yep.
here.
Yeah, I like that.
That's a good one. Yeah.
For the cart that of everything that you're sampling. Love that.
Plus a few extras. That's another thing I like to do.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't try an eye cream, but there's one. Let's put it in,
Yeah.
Do you ever sample the eye stuff, the eye products?
I do. I usually do for, yes, it's once again, it's feeling out your prospect, feeling out like I'm shocked how many people say, I just wash my face.
Right.
And so some of those people, like a system of 5 products just completely blows their mind, and they get it in front of them, and, they pull it out and they won't even try it because they are just so overwhelmed. So, I just kind of, by asking them what they currently use, a lot of times that helps me determine how much of a product junkie they are. So I would absolutely love for somebody to try the eye elixir and the eye cream together if I feel like they could handle that.
Awesome.
And there's also fun things you could do where once your business is going and maybe you've made a certain amount of money and you want to invest some more, you could have a general kit for people. You could have a teen acne kit where you keep it very simple. Cleanser, serum, moisturizer, like acne drops. Very simple. And then you can have a couple of those floating around, because there's I get contacted by a lot of mamas that love what we're doing. And then what could you do for my teen? That's been coming up so often, and no joke, within the last week, we did Accutane. We wished we hadn't. My kid's having so many problems now. What would you recommend? You know, and my whole thing was simple. They're like, but they have scarring, but they have, and I'm like, no, your kid right now is dried out. They need a gentle cleanser and a moisturizer, and then we can add other things. They're damaged right now,
Yeah.
you know.
I love that. You can,
True.
if you have local customers, you can reach out to them and ask them, their kids to try it, you know, like if they're looking for something for their kids. I like that. They're teenagers.
It could be a mom kid drop off. You know what? Why don't you
Oh,
do
yeah.
other the next 2 nights?
Yep. Love it.
Yeah.
So Carrie, another question that came to mind is, do you ever ask them for referrals when you pick them up or after they purchase? How do you bridge that process? Because especially if you're out of town, say maybe for a week, it'd be nice to then just cycle the products to people
Yeah.
working versus just at one person's house. So have you navigated that at all?
So don't have as much experience in this, but absolutely. Like if you're going to be out of town for a week, maybe you could say like, you know, Susie Q, her best friend, her next door neighbor's Susie Z. And you could say, do y'all want to try this? I'll let you have it first. And then on Thursday, hand it over to Susie Z and, you know, let y'all both try it. I would absolutely do that. Another thing that I've seen people have success with at my previous company, I've never done this, but they've shipped products to somebody and had somebody basically host a pop-up where they pass these products around and there was somebody in charge of it. Let's say I ship things to Gretchen and Gretchen's going to be the host. Well, she's going to facilitate letting a couple of people try the products and she's going to, you know, go pick them up from them, clean them, you know, and then let somebody else try them. And she's gathering those orders and get the host reward. So you could even do something like that too.
Love that. That's interesting
I
concept.
know, isn't it?
Yeah, because then, you know, that just keeps going and then you're like, okay, well, you're a part of Susie G's group. How about you now do this with your whole network?
Yeah.
And, you know, like they
Well,
have
then
products. Yeah.
yeah, my example, like I shipped them to Gretchen. Well, then Gretchen goes, this was kind of fun. And I'm like, you should do this too. This is what I do. And, you know, if that person signs up, I probably will say, just keep those products. Like, you know, I mean, that could be too much of an investment, but depending on how I feel like their network is and, you know, how much do they sell to their friends and, you know, taking all those things in consideration, I might just say, keep them.
Yeah, and I think that's great for consultants. Like I know there's 1 or 2 on here and myself, you know, I move every 3 years. So my network might be better in a previous city and state, you know, where it's like, okay, do I really want to fly there and try to do a glow workshop or can I do something like this? Because, you know, you always have that 1 or 2 friends that are like the social butterflies. And if you haven't quite met them yet in this area, then it's like, I like that investment. That could be fun. Now, going off that, how would you, I know you've been in Dallas for a while, so how would you try to network to be able to do this if you're newer to a community?
I think, you know, it could come. So if you're newer to a community, what I love about that is that every time you meet somebody, they say, oh, what do you do?
Mhm.
And you're immediately getting to tell them a little bit about what you do. And I'm sure y'all probably talked about that. You're not word vomiting over like I work for this company, it's been 20 years in Germany, blah, 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 but you're just saying, I work for a waterless skincare brand. And they're gonna go, what does that mean? You know, and if they don't want to know, they're not going to ask. But they're going, what does that mean? And then they'll go, that sounds pretty cool. And you'd be like, yeah, do you want to try some? You can, I mean, I have products that I let people try. If you ever, you know, want to try them, they're actually available this weekend. And so I think it can come up pretty seamlessly with some people just as you meet them and as you kind of get to know people. And then you'd be surprised. I know my sister tells stories all the time how she's at dinner and somebody who isn't even a great client winds up being her biggest supporter in these group situations where they say, oh my gosh, you should try Julie's products. They're so great. And Julie's like giggling because she's like, that person's never bought anything from me. But sometimes you meet those people that continue to spread the word for you too.
Right. And you need that support too. Usually in a glow workshop, when we're in a setting, I usually remind them that that's a way for them to support our business too, is by offering those referrals and being the word of mouth for us. So
Yeah.
I love that. And I do love the fact I was talking to Julie and she had you give her some products to try. Like she just didn't trust you, which is funny because you guys have been
Yeah.
in this before, but those that don't know, Carrie's sister, Julie, is another Black Olive Star and extremely successful, but she had her sister do the drop off so that she could try the products and then of course was hooked right away. But I thought that was kind of comical.
I know it is. And she used the products 3 times. So really over like a day and a half, and
Mhm.
3 times, 3, actual times of washing her face and putting on the products. And she took a before and after, which that's something else you could add into your QR code is have somebody take a before picture. You never, I mean, tell them you're not going to see great, you're not going to see, dark spots, instantly disappear. But sometimes people will see things. And so my sister's skin, she thought she was using clean products. She thought she was doing great, but she saw such redness and inflammation disappearing with just 3 uses. And that's crazy. She didn't even realize her skin was red or inflamed.
Yeah.
But yes, with my previous company, I probably had, over the course of all the years, I probably had 4 people that just, when I went to pick up the basket or the products, they just said, I just want to do this with you. And so that, that's really cool too. It happens.
Yeah. Well, I think the simplicity of these basket drop-offs for people that are super busy. I just love it. I think it's an easy way to weave in and out and around you go. So our products are definitely very active and bio individual, I would say. Have you had anybody react to the products?
Well, my current person who has it, who said she was super sensitive, but I've told her. And so I think that's why it's so important to set expectations when you're dropping them off. And if somebody says, I'm super sensitive, say, hey, why don't you just start with just using the face wash at first and try that. I mean, that might be, a situation where you give somebody a little extra time if you have it. But, I told her, why don't you use this? And so it didn't scare her. It didn't, she had a little bit of breakout just kind of right around her nose. And I said, why don't you keep them for a little bit longer and just, keep doing it just really slow, just one product. And so what's great about that is that when you set the expectations, I really like to tell people starting a new skincare routine, sometimes your skin will freak out, and don't let that be alarming. And sometimes there's tweaking that has to be done, and that's normal. And I think when you just say those words, people don't freak out if their skin freaks out.
Right.
I go, this is what Carrie told me about.
Yeah, they know to expect it.
Right. Well,
Not if it happens, it's not a shock.
right.
Yeah.
It's not a shock and they know that it's common, right? Like they're not using
And
the
then let's say somebody really did, I mean, it's an allergic reaction, like no doubt, like this is not good. I would just say, wow, I'm so sorry. And I would say, I'm so glad that we got you to try these products before you purchase them. I would always be looking for the positive in the situation and be like, I can't believe, you must be allergic to olive trees. I don't know. I mean, I would be looking for it. Yeah, it happens. And so, just looking for the positive in the situation of like, I'm glad you didn't purchase the product yet. And so sorry it happened. And
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Carrie, thank you so much for your time. I haven't seen any more questions hop in the chat, so I'm thinking that we're probably good on questions. but this was so informative. I got a ton of notes and,
Good.
I don't know, Gretchen, if you have the same feeling I do, but I kind of feel like we're going to be doing some sort of incentive for these because I definitely love to get people in action after they're hearing some good ideas. So I truly appreciate your time, Carrie.
You're
Yeah,
welcome. And I will send you the latest order form that I have for my consultant. There could be an error in it. So I don't know, but it looks a lot better than what's behind in the back office.
Appreciate
So
that.
I will
Thank
send that to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
I
y'all
will
so much.
play and send that out. So thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, y'all too.
Wait, hang
Okay.
on. Let's get a picture. Hang on.
Oh,
I'm so bad at this, but here we go.
took
Hang
one
on.
and tagged you.
What's that?
I took one and tagged you.
Oh, you
Oh, you
did?
did?
Oh, you're already on it. Okay, good.
But
bye everyone.
All right,
Okay,
bye. Thanks, Carrie.